All right, so let's go over Module 1. I'd like to review that a little bit before we get to the other items. So I'm going to go to Modules, Module 1. So this module we covered last week. It was really simply an overview of the internet and the web. A little bit of history, right, where it came from, and then really the most important part for us going forward is the part at the end, right, the last few pages where we talked about the code that you needed that we'll be using on every single web page we create in this class going forward. You had 3 assignments, a DQ, a lab, and a quiz. Of course, you had the learning objectives. You had your chapter. It was chapter number 1. Okay. And the companion website, I believe, had some updates, I thought. So remember, the first thing you should probably do when we get to a module is go straight to the companion website and check to see if there's any updates for that chapter, right? And then write them in your book, or if you have a digital version, then make any notations you need to make sure that you have the most current updates for that information. Okay, we will be going over the key concepts, right, every module. However, we go over a briefer version, right, a reduced or condensed version. The key concepts by the author are larger than the ones I really want to cover in class. I'd like to spend more time, hitting the keyboard and coding than lecturing for the most part. Okay. All right, the classroom screencasts and for the upcoming module will be posted as well after this class, so most likely tomorrow at some point, hopefully in the morning. And then you had your first assignment for Module 1, which was a DQ, and that was under the mandatory discussion questions. And Module 1 DQ was titled Website Project. So the idea behind this DQ was to get your juices flowing regarding the project, right? Throwing out some ideas you might have, perhaps giving other students some ideas, right? Or at least somewhere to go to get started on at least one idea. Okay? This was not where you would actually post your topic approval, right? This was simply a place where you can brainstorm and talk to all your other colleagues in the class and see what they might be thinking about. Any questions or issues with this assignment? No? Okay. I did put out some tutorials. Of course, these tutorials are always supplemental information regarding the chapter being covered. So these items, you've probably seen a little familiar because they were covered in the book, but I put them there just so if you'd like to get another perspective or another way that someone likes to explain or define those items, it's kind of nice to see someone else's definition, right? Which are typically should be the same, right? But maybe just in a few different words. All right, your student lab files, those are available. I always make those available as a courtesy. Those student lab files are the files that you'll use to complete the hands-on practice in the book, as well as the case study in the back, which is going to be your labs for the most part. Okay? You are more than welcome to get the lab files on your own. The book itself has a code that you can get them, as well as the companion website has a link to them as well. So again, decide how you'd like to get them, but I provide them for you, no charge. Lab software for last week was pretty simple. It was just a basic text editor, right? That's all you really needed. And those of you that were using a Mac had to do a little bit of a configuration to your text editor to get your text edit application to work like a code editor, basically. All right, let's take a look at your second assignment. That was a lab that you had. I've already started grading some of the labs. I think I maybe got about 10 students in out of 60. So I have a little ways to go. But some of you may already see a grade and my feedback for your work. Okay, so you may want to look at that. So the lab number 1 was really just to recreate what we did in class last week. Okay, we did that in class last week, and basically we had to recreate that. It was chapter 1, hands-on practice 1.1. And that's all you had to submit. It was an index.html file. You submitted that, and I provided you, or will provide you, some feedback. Okay. Any questions on the lab? Any issues you may have had that you may have, not figured out? Okay. All right. I do want to remind you not to forget to answer the most difficult part of the assignment question. I think some of you forgot, or just kind of missed that. So I'd like to just reiterate that that is an important step or part of handing in your work. I look at these, and if I get a sense of common issues, right, I then take a look at how I can help that particular issue, or change the way the assignment is written, or do something different in class to make sure that that issue doesn't occur. Okay, so it's a really important part of the assignment, for me at least. Okay. All right, so that's the labs, and then your last assignment really was the quiz. How many of you tried the review games before you took the quiz? Did you feel that they helped when you took the quiz? Okay, good. All right, so if any of you did not take it and you received a lower score than you thought you should have or you wanted to, you may consider doing the review games before taking the next quiz. Okay, great. Also, the end of the chapter has some quiz questions as well. So you may want to consider doing those, and the answer to those quiz questions in the back of the chapter are in the back of the book. They're in appendices. So just look for those answers there. Okay. And then the last thing, right, was the quiz. 10 minutes, 10 questions. You could take it anywhere you want. You can take it when you want. Just don't take it in a group setting or late, right, past the due date. All right. Any issues, questions with the quiz? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's wait until we go over the quiz, and I'll cover that. No worries. No worries. So any issues with the quiz itself, taking it, or the time allotted for it? No? Okay, fantastic. All right, so that was module number 1. Any other general questions about the module? No? Okay. All right, so let's go back to this, and let's highlight this. Fantastic.